The third question you asked was about the biggest and most painful experience that I've experienced as a pastor. How did I work things out, and what did I learn about myself through that? The instance that came to my mind right away was the issue with a staff member. This was going back a few years ago now. I'll just use first names. But Pastor Stan was our worship pastor, and his wife Donna, wonderful, wonderful people. And I was a brand new senior pastor at the time, and I was on quite a learning curve myself. But in the first few months of arriving at our new church, Stan's wife Donna was diagnosed with brain cancer and had a very aggressive brain tumor. Within days, she was operated on, and it was determined that her cancer was a very aggressive type. Long story short, within a few months, Donna was gone. And of course, that was difficult to help the entire church work through the grieving process, but we did. But where the circumstance got really difficult was about 7 or 8 months later. Pastor Stan announced that he was seeing someone, a new woman, which, was fine. I just encouraged him to go slow and get to know her. Well, within a couple of months after that, he announced that they were engaged, and she was going to be moving from Southern California with 3 children and coming to Central California where we lived. And so, okay, we got all excited about that. And Lori moved to our area with her 3 children, moved into a house. And then one day, Lori called me on the phone, on my cell phone, and said, "We have a problem. Stan and I had a fight last night, and Stan doesn't want to get married anymore." So I said, "I'll be right over." So my wife and I went right over, talked with Lori, and she told us what the fight was about. And then she said, "But Pastor Steve, there's one more thing we haven't told you, and that Stan and I secretly got married a few weeks ago." And I thought, oh my, this is a completely different scenario now. It's not just should the wedding go on, but now can we save this marriage? They had not told us anything. They didn't even tell their own children that they had secretly gotten married. So I said to Lori, okay, let me go talk to Stan and see where we go from here. So I went to talk to Pastor Stan, asked him what happened. He told me about the argument, what it was about. And I asked him, is there anything else you want to tell me about your relationship with Lori? And he told me, no, that's everything. And I was so sad. I said, well, Stan, let me tell you what Lori just told me, that you got married secretly a few weeks ago. So he explained how that happened and why they did that, and they had their reasons. But then he asked me to keep that quiet and not let anybody know, and not sure where we would go from there. And I said, no, Stan, I'm not going to participate in that. I can't lie about that. And so we agreed that it would be best for him to step back from his position in ministry. He needed to work on his relationship with his wife now and his new family. And so he resigned from our church, and then they all moved back to Southern California where Lori still had a job. We had to explain this, of course, to the congregation, and you're always wondering, how much do you say? If you don't say enough, people fill in the blanks with false information, with inaccurate information. If you fill in too much, you can go too far. And so we were direct with the congregation. We told them exactly what happened, but without a lot of detail. We just told them that Pastor Stan and Lori had secretly gotten married a few weeks ago, and that their relationship was not going well, and that they asked us to keep that hidden from you as a congregation, and that we were not going to do that. So we were upfront, but gentle about it. And then over the weeks that happened later, after that, Stan and Lori's relationship did not work out well. They ended up divorcing and separating and divorcing. And then about a full year after Stan left, he was in a much better place. He was doing better. He had moved back to Louisiana with family. And he wrote us a letter to the church, to myself, to the elder board, and apologized for his actions, recognized that what he did was wrong, and wanted an opportunity to come back to California to address the whole church, to apologize to the church, and ask for their forgiveness. And so it was a real pleasure to bring him back out to California. We had a wonderful time with the elder board first, of him apologizing, admitting what he had done wrong. He recognized it now that he was in a better space and place. And we had a wonderful time of forgiving him and restoring him to our fellowship. And then the next day was Sunday. We had 2 services, and he spoke to both services at the end of the service. I told our congregation, I said, what you are going to see right now, most people never see in a lifetime. You're going to see the reconciliation of a brother who went through a very difficult time. And so he read his letter of apology to the congregation, and on behalf of course, the congregation and the elder board, we extended our forgiveness to him and prayed over him and lovingly embraced him. We had a celebration. We had a reception. It was a grand time, a wonderful experience. And so, while that was very difficult to navigate, I think we did that well, and God was honored through all of that. And at the end, praise God, a lot of relationships were restored. That was a number of years ago. Stan has since married again to a wonderful, godly woman, and he's back in ministry as well, because he's a great servant for the Lord. You also asked, what were some of the insights I gained about myself through that experience? I learned that I don't like to confront. Confrontation's not fun. It's not easy. And yet it's essential. So I learned more about doing that and how to do that. And also learned about drawing closer. Even though someone who's going through a great crisis tells you they're fine, you know that they're in counseling, you know the resources that they have available to them, still don't take those things for granted. Stay close to them and assure them of your fellowship and minister to them in very personal, practical ways as well. So I praise God for the way that he saw us through that and worked those things out.